p.m. right on the dot. And we're going to start off with 3 items for a public hearing. And we'll take them in the order as that's on the agenda. We're first here to receive public comment on proposed vacation of a public utility easement, Lot 18 of Quell Hollow, North Plat A at approximately 63 East, 1340 North, and Lot 47 Hillcrest Acres, East Plat B, approximately 59 East, 1340 North in the subdivision. Anybody like to make public comment or give public comment on this item, please come forward, state your name at the microphone. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the second item of our public hearing. That is to receive public comment on the proposed vacation of the public utility easement between lots 42 and 43 of Autumn Crest, Phase 1, Plat C. And that would be located at 1032 and 1046 East, 1100 North in the subdivision. Anybody like to make public comment on this, please come forward at this time. George, were you going to make comment? Okay. Okay, seeing none, we'll close that section and we'll move on to the third item, and that is receive public comment on the AF Utah LLC addition consisting of 14.9 acres and located at approximately 1000 West, 200 South. Please come forward at this time. Okay, we'll close the public hearing and we'll move on to our regular session. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll have an invocation by Councilmember Hunter, and then they'll conduct the roll call. If everybody would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll now conduct the roll call. Councilmember Hunter.
Here.
Councilmember Shelton.
Here.
Councilmember Barnes.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
We'll now move on to item number 2, and that is time we set aside for the public to make comments of any kind. I have one submitted, but I'll just start off with you, Nick. If you haven't submitted paperwork, that's fine. This is just for us to respond back if you need to. But we'll ask Nick to come forward at this time and start us off, Nick. And then we'd ask you to limit your comment period, your minutes.
Hello. It's been a long time. I still get so nervous coming up here, even though I know you guys a little bit now. It's so good to see you all. I just wanted to say that recently my wife and our now almost 1-year-old baby, time flies, we've been enjoying Rotary Park a lot. And there are some beautiful large trees in that park. And I've been thinking about how those trees, even though they're so tall, their growth slows down eventually, natural factors prevent it from growing forever taller and taller. And American Fork is going to keep growing and growing like it is. And looking at the agenda today, there's still so much new development going on, but eventually it's gonna slow down. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, the tree is beautiful, it's large. I'm just looking and thinking towards the future as more and more residents move here, as the development continues, traffic problems continually. Someone planted that tree a long time ago because they were like, wouldn't this be lovely to have this here? And you guys are incredible because you've been working and tending all the trees in every way in the city, day in and day out. You come here all the time and it's amazing. And I see you thinking ahead and planning ahead with the bike and pedestrian master plan. And we have the bike rack program is about to come to fruition, where we're going to finally have safe bike parking. And I'm going to do everything I can to support the city and communicating with other cyclists to figure out how we can best utilize the city's resources and really put bike lanes where they matter most and first. I just need the city's help and staff's help doing things because I can't do anything on my own. Again, I appreciate you all, and I appreciate the city staff as well. You guys are incredible. I love American Fork. I love living here. Thank you for your service. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
And I got to get home to the baby, so. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else that'd like to make public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment period and we'll move on to the city administrator's report. David?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. The bubble is up on the swimming pool. And so now we're going into the season where it can get a little bit crispier in the mornings, and we have the bubble up and you can still swim in a nice warm pool. So it really takes a lot of manpower to take that bubble up and down. And we have analyzed whether we should have an outside group come and help us with that every year because it is so difficult. And as we've analyzed the cost there, it is a tremendous cost to bring somebody in to take that bubble up and down. And our staff does it instead, saving us many, many dollars every single year, twice a year. And I just want to commend our staff for the good job that they do and the money that they save us by all pitching in and doing a good job together. Couple other things. We will have Petapalooza on October 14th, and we will also have the dedication of the Doug Smith Subaru Dog Park, which is going to be a great event. So bring your dogs and come out to that event. And then also at the end of October, we will have on the 26th, we will have a ribbon cutting for the new fire station 5-2, which is on North County Boulevard and Harvey Boulevard on the corner there. So put that on your calendars to come out to that. We will be having Safety Week, so that week as well with public safety, so you'll be able to walk through the station and see all the new gadgets at the new station. It's a fantastic new station. We appreciate everyone we've worked with to get this station completed, CERT construction especially, and just want to invite everybody out to that on the 26th of October. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, we'll now move on to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Hunter.
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Shelton.
I just went on to report, had a board meeting yesterday for North Point. They're getting closer. Seems like bring it up every time. I just want to keep reminding everyone they're looking to switch from a special service district interlocal agreement, so that'll be forthcoming. Might take it into the beginning of next year, but that is in conjunction with them looking at some site improvements there. So there'll be more information forthcoming about the site improvements and things of that nature, but pretty excited, trying to plan for the future and all the garbage that goes there. It's amazing to see the increase in tonnage of MSW or municipal waste that goes through there. They are looking in the springtime, so whoever takes over this assignment next year, hope they can keep them accountable to this, because it's been an idea we've been trying to push for a while, to do a council field trip out there with the different council members to look at Bayview, the landfill, and kind of get an idea of what it looks like and what that new era contract means and how that's saving the district a lot of money right now. So that's all I have to report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you for that report. Councilmember Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Talk first a little bit about the Veterans Day program. We hold that every year. Veterans Day is November 11th, which is a Saturday, but our program will be held on Friday, November 10th. As always, it will be at the Tabernacle on Main Street. It will start at 11 o'clock. The cemetery committee will be meeting next week to finalize everything, but we think so far we've got a great speaker lined up. We've got some great music from a local chorale group that has presented before and always done a wonderful job. And then, of course, we honor all of the vets that day. And kind of related to that, but not really, most of you, I think, have heard that they found the remains of James Chipman, who was shot down in 1972. Some of you don't even remember 1972 looking at this group, but some of us do. And they found enough stuff to identify his body. The family is going to be doing some stuff. The mayor will talk a little bit about that. But we will also be doing some kind of a special little tribute to him during that Veterans Day program on November 10th. So we encourage everybody to come out and participate. This is the program where we invite the fifth graders from the 5 elementary schools in the city to come join us, and so far they've always all of them have come, and that's always good for them. And this will be a little different for them, a little special for everybody that attends. So again, just encourage everybody to come out and celebrate that day with us that day. And the thought just occurred to me, if you get a chance, think of that every chance you get. Or a current military person, those are in uniform. Having experienced that and been part of it in different ways, it does have meaning to them if they're currently serving especially. So just encourage people to do that. And no reports from any of the other committees, Mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you, Councilmember Barnes. Councilmember Carroll.
Hi, thanks, Mayor. I don't think I have anything to report tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Taylor.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, item number 5, the mayor's report. I'll just talk a little bit briefly about what will happen the next day after, on the actual Veterans Day, which is November 11th. That is a Saturday. At 1 p.m., they're going to have a graveside service with the family of James Chipman. And we expect it to be very special. We'll be using everything that the city can give the family. They're still in a planning process, but I would expect nothing less than streets lined with flags from Center Street all the way from Anderson's and Sons to the cemetery. I would expect top military honors from a level that we haven't seen in recent memory of our city. to honor and respect of this man that has been gone and missing for 50 years. And now his remains have been found. And so I'm staying close with the family. I know there's still a few more details to be brought out, but he is, it's pretty humbling to listen to his son's talk. He's currently in Honolulu. His father is. That's where they brought his remains, and I'm learning words, repatriation, and all that takes place in the formal process of actually receiving somebody back into the United States of America, and being a veteran. His remains will be accompanied by a military honors, that of the Marine Corps, until they actually have him come to Anderson and Sons. It's a very formal process. I asked if they would like to have police escorts, and they said they have their way of doing things, and so that's great. So, pretty historical event in the history of our city will take place on that day, November 11th at 1 p.m. And then the other thing I'd have to report is I've kind of thought back about with the things that the mayor does, and I think another very neat day in the history of American Fork was last Thursday. The press release went out in the morning, but there was a formal event at 4 o'clock down in the LVT parking lot. If you don't know where that is they share that Class A office with Domo. It's the brand new one off the 500 East exit. They occupy some floors of that building. Domo occupies the others. The LVT has announced a partnership with the Utah Jazz. So the left chest logo, every time you see the Jazz up there on the court playing, it'll be LVT. And I was reading through the press release, and it's interesting information, but I thought based in American Fork. So all year long, and really it's a multi-year contract. LVT, synonymous with not only with what they do, but being headquartered and based out of American Fork. I think it's something that we as a city should be pretty proud of. So got to meet the Jazz Bear, Craig Bullerjack, and a few others dignitaries, and so it was a fun event, and they blew it up. So that is the mayor's report. We'll now move on to the common consent agenda, consisting of 5 items. I'll ask Tara Lynn, has there been any noted changes to the minutes? Any questions by the council?
Mayor, I'd move approval of the common consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Okay, item number 2 is review and action on an appointment of John Woofenden to the Cemetery Committee with term ending 2027. We're very familiar with John, and
Do we need a motion?
yeah, I wanted to give
Just
John
not
a
going to
little
give you
bit
too
of
far,
raw
because
here.
I want to make the motion. I don't want anybody else to have the
No,
chance.
I'd
like
so-
Just kidding.
So thank you, John, for your willingness to serve in this capacity. True. Okay. All right. I think we need a motion, Councilmember Barnes.
I was just looking for it. I can't get through my minutes fast
Oh, hey,
enough.
John, hey, you gotta have it in mind, Kev.
I would just like to make the motion, if I could talk, for the appointment of John Woofenden to the Cemetery Committee, effective immediately, with a term ending 2027.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Barnes,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item number 2 is review and action on...
Just real quick, your first meeting is next Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock at the cemetery office. If you would, John, please.
New
Okay.
guy brings cookies, John. That's what I heard. All right, number 2 is review and action on an ordinance approving the vacation of the public utility easement between lots 18 Quelk Hollow North Platte A, 63 East, 1340 North, and Lot 47 Hillcrest Acres East Platte B at 59 East, 1340 North in that subdivision. These are the items in our public hearing. Any questions?
Mayor, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt the ordinance approving the vacation of public utility easement at 63 East, 1340 North, American Fork.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton, second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Item number 3 is like unto it, is review and action on an ordinance approving the vacation of the public utility easement between Lot 42 Autumn Crest Phase 1 Plat C at 1032 East, 1100 North, and Lot 43 Autumn Crest Plat 1 Plat C at 1046 East, 1100 North.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the ordinance approving the public utility easement vacation at 1032/1046 East, 1100 North, subject to recording in the Autumn Crest Phase 1 Plat G subdivision.
You have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on the motion?
Quick question on this one. I just noticed in the packet, the one prior had kind of an application process, which was awesome. This one didn't have any of the utility companies that were put in there. I just was curious if we got those letters from the utility companies.
I didn't have access to any of that. I noticed that as we were approving a previous subdivision, that we needed to do the vacation. So I believe that would be part of the process.
I just think, I love that we now have a process in there and just maybe just further refining it. When you look at the application, it requires an individual signature from every utility company on the application. However, each utility company is going to issue their own letter from their own legal department. And so I feel like it's extra work and redundant for someone to have to say, let me email you this, you sign it, and then you're going to send me back a signed letter plus the signed application back. It seemed to be a little bit redundant, but I love the contact information, love the process going forward. But it would be nice if we followed that each time in the checklist kind of coming to us to make sure we have the utilities. So I would look to maybe just amend the motion that subject to or conditioned upon us having those letters from those utility companies.
Is this the one where it's because we're combining two lots?
Mhm.
So is the process different in that scenario than?
Typically, they would probably be similar, but where we didn't realize that we didn't get the vacation prior to that, so the process was a little different this time.
Okay. I have a motion and a second, and do you
No
want to?
problem.
So, okay. I'm going to call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Okay, item number 4 is review and action on approving the AF Utah LLC addition consisting of 14.9 acres and located at approximately 1,000 west, 200 south, including the ordinance of annexation, annexation agreement, and placement of the property in the TOD zone. See Joe here this week. So, but any questions?
Mayor, I would move to adopt the ordinance approving the AF Utah LLC addition consisting of 14.9 acres at approximately 1,000 west, 200 south, including the ordinance of annexation agreement, street dedication plat, and placement of the property in the TOD zone, and authorize the mayor and the council to sign the annexation documents, annexation plat, and street dedication plat.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Item number 5A is a review and action on an application for a final plat known as the Flats at Lakeshore Landing Block 1, Plat B, located at approximately 444 South, 920 West. The final plat will be for approximately 1.56 acres and will be in the TOD zone. And Patrick is good to come if we need him to come forward. If not, based upon what we have learned from the Planning Commission.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed plat located approximately 444 South, 920 West in the transit-oriented development zone, with instructions to city recorder withhold recording of the plat subject to all conditions identified in the public recording of September 6th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, item 5B is review and action on an application for a final plat known as the Flats at Lakeshore Landing, Block 3, Plat F, located at approximately 496 South, 920 West. Final plat will be approximately .94 acres and will be in the TOD zone.
Mayor, I'd move to adopt the proposed final plat located at approximately 496 South, 920 West in the transit-oriented development zone with instructions to the city recorder withhold recording of the plat subject to all conditions identified in the public record of the September 6th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
Second?
second by Councilmember Shelton. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item 5C is a review and action on an application for a final plat known as SURG LLC, professional office building located at approximately 1141 East, 50 North in American Fork. The final plat will be in approximately .6 acres and will be in the PO1 zone.
Mayor, I'd move to recommend move to recommend approval for the proposed commercial final plat located at 1141 East, 50 North, American Fork City in PO1 zone, subject to any conditions found in the staff report, and with instructions of the city recorder to withhold recording of the plat subject to all conditions identified in the public record for the September 6, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
Okay. I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor,
I'll second.
second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion on this motion?
Go ahead.
I was just going to bring up, I mean, wasn't too far from this property that we had, and I just wondering if we had any discussions about how we're looking at commercial and residential in that buffer. We talked about that once upon a time, coming back and talking about it and how high buildings can be and things of that nature. And this just brought that back up. Well, it's not exactly right there on that neighborhood. It just kind of brought that back up as we're going to continue, I think, to see commercial and residential. So I didn't know if there was any update on maybe where that was at or if that was going to be brought forward anytime soon.
Patrick, you want to answer that?
In this instance, this is like significantly below the requirement for the maximum height requirement. For what you're speaking of in terms of the other stuff, we've been doing our research on that, and we're hoping to take something forward in the overall code change because there are a number of other things that we need to consider. There are a number of other impacted sections of code, not just the building height and the buffer issue, but also setbacks, lighting, and overspill that all kind of feed into that project. So it's not just a tweak to one section of code that we need to make. It's a significant change, and with that, I think it's probably better that it's addressed in an overall rewrite so we're not having to redo it again at a later point.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Mayor,
Oh.
just, I'm trying to find the page and I can't find it. I've written down page 91 and page 117, but they're not coming up. They're the pages, they're not coming up what I thought was on there. I had a question about the parking requirements. I wish I could find it. On page 138, it says approximately 4,039 square feet. Yeah, this is where we want to be. Packet page 138. It says professional office. It's requiring 18.8
stalls, and
parking stalls.
they've provided 22.
But then the next page, it says medical office, 2,300 square feet. But up above in the introduction, it talks about a 4,000 square foot building. So I'm confused, and I've written down page 91 and 117. I'm just confused why it says 4,000 in one place, and another place it says 4,000 for part of it, and then it adds another 2,300, which brings the total up to 32.
Yeah,
Is
so,
that-
so there's a total required parking spaces. I believe it's because the usage within their building is split between two different uses. So they've got professional office and medical office, and there's two different parking requirements for the, for those different usages. So we've calculated based off of the different uses within the building and not just a gross square foot of the building, because of the need for two different parking requirements.
Okay, she's pulled it up there. Under the background, it says the lot is approximately 0.6 acres, da-da-da, and the proposed building will be approximately 4,039 square feet. I understand the split of the two buildings and that, or office types, and that makes perfect sense. And yet, the professional office is going to be 4,700, which is more than this 4,000 square feet, and then there's another 2,300 on there. Somehow the math just doesn't add up to
Yeah.
me.
I can see that.
Is that something you want to work on? Is that something we need to
No,
solve tonight?
I was looking at the plans, and I'm questioning, and my apologies if there's an error in this, but the professional office of 4,701 square feet, I don't know how that's included in it, considering that the total square footage of the building is 4,039. So I'm not
I
sure
had that
where
same
that's.
question too.
Yeah, so
but
I'm
then
not
these
sure where
other-
that's come in
So
and-
there's just some numbers that don't
Yeah,
add up.
the
Come on,
actual-
engineer. Come on,
No,
engineer.
this isn't.
You're the math guy.
Um,
So can you look into
So
that and just,
so in the actual site plan, it's 4,039 square feet. I can do the calculation, total of the building, so I'm not sure where the 4701 number comes from, so my apologies on that. But if you are to take that 4039 at the 4 for 1,000,
and take the 2,300 away?
yeah, it's just over 16 stalls of a requirement, and they've provided 22 stalls.
Well,
But my apologies, I don't know where the 4701 came from
because
on
this
this.
total says they need 32 stalls,
Yeah.
and you're saying 22. That's kind of what
Yeah.
got me thinking. That just
It's
didn't add
22
up.
is what they have. They're required to have 16, did you say?
16 is what they're required to have, 22 is what they're providing, based off of the professional
Right.
office use. I'm not too sure on the 4701.
But
I'm
that-
afraid.
Third line down on
Yeah.
page 139 says the required is 32,
Yeah,
where other places it says required is 22 or whatever your number was. It just, those things confuse my poor
you're-
little feeble mind,
I
sorry.
think it's,
That's understood.
I think they're good, I mean, it just says you read.
3
the
more
packet.
months, you guys won't have to
You're
worry
being
about
very
it, so
thorough.
just be patient.
No, I think it is good to get down though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
something we want to make sure is correct.
I think it just needs to be clear.
And then I often wonder, do we regulate that when someone says, no, our tenant moved out, now a doctor's moving in? Do we come back with
Follow up
change
on it, yeah.
or anything like that?
Would be a change of use at that point in time, so they would need to potentially come back and amend their site plan.
Would we
If-
even know if they just changed from?
We do when,
One type
we
office
do
to
when we
another?
get a new business license application. And we've been running into some of these issues of people telling us, well, I was told that I'm fine to do this because by the
Because
person
the
they're
prior-
renting from,
because the
but
prior had
the
it right.
the use is different. We're saying, yeah, you're
Yeah.
more than welcome to rent space. We really want the businesses to be located here, but there are additional rules that come along with that. So we've been working through a number of those issues recently. One of them was one that came forward as a code change a few months ago for the transfusion clinic that just was located in a regular office building, but they have a different parking requirement because they're considered to be a medical clinic. So they had run through with that issue, if you can remember that. So those are some things that are happening. We are catching a couple of those as they come through.
Okay, and that's good.
But the
But
parking
if you
number
can
on
just get
this,
this one straightened up
Yeah.
somehow, yeah.
Do we need to recalculate?
That's what I was just gonna say. Do we need to change this? And, I mean,
so
I'm
looking,
comfortable as long as you're comfortable, but
so looking at,
clearly the
yeah.
packet doesn't match what you've just
No,
said.
so looking at the site plan of the square footage of the building, it's 4,039 square feet. If it's 4 stalls per 1,000 square foot of the building, we're at 16, required, if my math's correct, plus the 39 square feet but if they're providing 22 stalls as well as providing their, the ADA requirements, from
Plus
my
the other
perspective,
two,
just
yeah.
looking at that now, they meet the parking need for the
They'd
building.
meet it, but, yeah.
So in terms of what's in the staff report, yes, there's an error in that in terms of the calculations that are there. And I will figure out where that error was made and try and address that, and I apologize for that issue. But in terms of the square footage of the building and the parking that's there, looking at that right now, I'm satisfied that
It'll all
that they
work.
still have provided sufficient stalls for their building.
I just think we need to change this motion or whatever so that it
Because of this,
matches.
to the staff report.
Pardon?
Change the motion in what way, so it matches
So
what
that
the
it
language of the
matches
staff
what's
report?
actually there, because if we pass it and say this is what they need, somebody could come back in my mind and say, you didn't meet the requirements that
Fair,
were
yep.
required and passed. Just a little confusing.
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. So Councilmember Taylor, I think, made the motion, second by Councilmember Carroll.
So I don't know how this motion can be altered or needs to be altered regarding Kevin's last request.
So this, we may not need to amend it. This is for the final plat, the site plan, which is next. You can make a different motion on that. So the
You don't
plat,
want me to make that again, so I'll just say it when it comes time.
so the plat can be approved without the parking, because they're just
Right.
approving the plat. The site plan can be
Yeah.
approved with that motion that you have
I
spoken.
think the site plan has the same numbers.
This next.
All right, now I'll have a, do you want, okay, I have a motion and a second, and I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Item 5D is review and action on an application for a commercial site plan known as SERG LLC Professional Office Building located at approximately 1141 East 50 North American Fork. The commercial site plan will be on approximately .60 acres and will be in the PO1 zone. Do you want to make a motion?
I'd go ahead and move to recommend approval for the proposed commercial site plan located at 1141 East, 50 North American Fork City, Utah 84003 in the PO-1 zone, subject to any conditions found in the staff report, with instructions to the city recorder to withhold the ordinance subject to all conditions identified in the public record of September 6, 2023 Planning Commission meeting.
And then you want to make your parking stipulation in that?
Well, and that's, I'm just trying to think that,
Perhaps there can be a subject to the confirmation of satisfactory parking. requirements.
satisfactory
Yeah.
parking, something like that, and I was just trying to figure out a way to add that in to withhold the ordinance subject to all conditions identified in the public record. This, to me, is a condition kind of in the public record, but I don't know
I
the
would
details,
just-
so.
I would just know specifically that the parking is satisfied as deemed by the development services.
Okay, with the amendment that Development Services will review the parking requirements and state exactly what requirements are needed.
Okay.
Is that close?
Good.
That'll get there.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Next
Council, I got a motion by Councilmember Barnes, second by Councilmember Hunter. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll, Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
right, we're moving along here. Item number 6 is a review and action on the award of AF City Alpine Highway 8 pipeline replacement project rebid to Cody Ecker Construction.
Mayor, do you mind if I update the council a little bit on this project? So this is an 8-inch water line in 100 East, and we had bid this out a year ago, and the costs came in a year ago, at the end of last year, excuse me, at 3.6 million. And we sent this back out, excuse me, 3.8 million. We sent this back out for bid. We weren't satisfied. We only had one bidder at the end of last year. So we rebid the project. Cody Ecker Construction is the apparent low bidder at 2.5. So that was a $1.3 million savings by re-looking at these plans and putting them out to bid again. So we feel comfortable there with the low bidder. In the budget impact, it states the project is not budgeted, but is funded by the water fund. Actually, we had this project funded for FY23, which ended at the end of June, but we did not put that back into FY24. We weren't sure that that was going to go forward. We went forward with it, so those funds that were allocated in last year's budget will be rolled over into this year's budget. It'll take a budget amendment, which we will bring to the council for approval.
Mayor, I would move that we accept the bid submitted by Cody Ecker Construction for construction of the AF City Alpine Highway 8-inch pipeline replacement project in the amount of $2,518,575 and approve the construction contract as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Taylor, second by Councilmember Carroll. Any discussion?
Question?
Yeah.
Just curious, it goes from 100 to 300 north, and then it skips a couple of blocks and starts at 500 north.
That's correct.
Is there a reason why we're not doing those? I'm sure there is a reason. I'm just curious, what is the reason why we're not doing?
So 3 years ago, we did from 300 to 500. The contractor there was Charrington, I believe. So we've already done that segment. From 300 to 500, that water line has been replaced already. So now we're going on the bookends of the pipe that we've already replaced. Now we're going on both ends of that.
It's interesting, build a pipeline, but start in the middle. That's
Our worst leaks.
The worst section.
We
was
started
there,
with the
but-
worst leaks from 3 to 500. They were the worst ones. So yeah, now the segments will be done from 100 all the way up to 700.
And they are doing both the culinary water and the PVC sewer pipe in this bid. Is that correct?
So this is water, culinary water.
So if you go down to the third to the last line,
Yeah, I
in the
see
middle of
that.
the line, it says work
You're right.
also includes replacing an 8-inch SDR 35 sewer pipe.
That's right. Item 33 is sewer as well, with manholes.
And this same company is doing all of that, and all of that is included in this bid.
It is.
It's going to be a busy road. Tough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna be a tough, we'll
Yeah.
have a lot of people happy at
There will
what
be,
we're doing.
at times there will need to be detours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
okay.
thank you, Mayor.
All right, I have a motion and a second. And I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Item number 7 is a review and action on the award of the American Fork City 1120 North Culvert Project contact to Landmark Excavation Incorporated. Any questions for staff on this one? I think we all know where that little cutout is at Art Dye in the parking lot. It just gets us over the river one more time.
we've planned for this many years in advance as we finished out the Art Dye parking lot as it came around. In fact, our illustrious engineer who helped us design that, he's looking around for someone else, but he helped us design that parking lot design and make sure that we had forethought into getting access over the river in another location. it's really critical for our public safety when we have large events at Art Dye. And this connection will connect onto the bridges at Fox Hollow.
Quick question I had, just the budget impacts, that's coming from the storm drain fund, but it sounds like it has a transportation element to it. Would that come out of part of the transportation funds as well as the?
That's right. So it says storm drain, but it really should be storm drain roads, and a portion actually will be for parks.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
Motion?
yeah, I need a motion.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the bid submitted by Landmark Excavating Inc. for the construction of the American Fork 1120 North Culvert project.
Culvert, yeah.
Yes, culvert project in the amount of $1,233,432 and approve the construction contract as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Carroll,
Second.
second by Councilmember Barnes. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes,
Aye.
Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, item number 8 is a review and action on an agreement with the appellate group to provide legal service to indigent defendants on appeal matters.
Mayor, I'll move to authorize the execution of the agreement with the appellate group to provide legal services for the indigent defendants in criminal appeals.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Shelton and a second by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Councilmember Carroll,
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton,
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Okay, item number 9 is consideration and action to enter into a closed session to discuss items described in Utah State Code 52-4-205, the purchase of sale of real property located in the Dixie Farm subdivision. I have a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.
A motion by Councilmember Shelton. Second by Councilmember Barnes. All in favor, well, no, let's go this, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember Shelton.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunter.
Aye.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Councilmember Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, public. We are going to convene downstairs. When we are finished with an executive session, we will open the door and we will adjourn our city council meeting from downstairs.